When we were on the road, when my girls and I were going to and from, I was listening to one of Brene Brown's books. The one that I'm referring to specifically is Dare to Lead. But you've probably heard of this in other of her talks or her books or whatever, if you have actually followed her stuff. But what I wanted to talk about is a concept that I knew about, but I never really had a name for it, and that's foreboding joy. And I'm not talking about my oldest daughter, but that whole when something good happens, you immediately start in your mind thinking of all the things that are now going to go wrong. You know what I mean? Because holding space for joy and happiness in our lives is really, really hard because it's terrifying. Joy is one of the hardest emotions to actually live in because we are all so scared of losing it. And so, unfortunately, because we're so scared of losing it, it's easier to not live in joy, because if we don't live in joy, we can't lose it, if that makes sense. So this whole foreboding joy, what that has to do with is, let's say, we're talking about you had a great ride on your horse, right? You were courageous, you overcome a fear, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so good. I feel fantastic. And then literally 5 seconds later, you're thinking, yeah, but oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this again tomorrow. Or thank goodness so-and-so wasn't here, or it would have went horribly wrong. Or, where you automatically start role-playing and basically taking yourself out of that joyful moment. You're thinking about, well, how are you probably going to screw it up next time? And maybe not next time, but maybe you start dragging in the past, like, oh my gosh, today was so awesome. I can't believe I accomplished that with my horse today. I am so proud of us. Now, how come I wasn't this smart yesterday? Why was I so dumb yesterday? How did I completely screw that up? I can't believe I did that. Because we're so scared of living in joy, because if you live in it, you can lose it, and that hurts. And so because we're so scared of that, this foreboding joy basically is a way that we protect ourselves, and it's basically not allowing ourselves to feel joy for very long, because it's easier to kind of squish our own joy, sabotage our own happiness with all of these negative thoughts, these what ifs in the future and why didn't I's in the past, instead of actually just soaking up that wonderful moment, no matter where, whether we're talking about horses, your personal life, or, your marriage, your kids, whatever that is. If we are so scared of living in joy, then we are literally going to sabotage our happiness and our joy by 5 seconds later, after feeling that amazing happiness, we're going to try to squish it. She relates it to, if you have kids, something that we can kind of all relate to is you're looking down at your baby and they're beautiful and they are perfect and they are precious, and you get that overwhelming, it gives me goosebumps even now just thinking about it, where you're like, my child is perfect and she is wonderful and I am so in love and I am so happy with my baby. And then your brain instinctively goes to all of the horrible things that could happen to your child. What happens, if they throw up and they choke on their vomit in their crib in their sleep? What happens if a kidnapper comes in and steals your kid? What happens if, right? Because we're so scared of living in joy that we sabotage it all of the time. Now, one of the ways that we can start actually overcoming this is, first off, being aware. Awareness is always key, is the very first step of everything. Awareness is realizing that you do it. And paying attention to when you do that. And when you become aware, how you can counteract that is actually by practicing gratitude. Now, I get it. Everyone's talking about gratitude journals, blah, 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 The Secret, all this kind of stuff. But there's a reason for it. There's a reason why everyone's talking about gratitude. There's a reason why Oprah talks about gratitude. There's a reason why the most, all the motivational speakers talk about gratitude is because it works. If we can live in the moment and actually be grateful for where we are, what we've accomplished, and where we're going, that stops our brain from being able to flip the switch and go to the negative of all the what ifs that can happen in the future and why didn't I's in the past, right? So I just really want to challenge you to just kind of be aware of it, because it is hard, and I get it, and it is scary living in joy, right? Because we know what it all feels like to have heartbreak. We know what it feels like to have a great moment and something actually bad to happen, and instead of putting up walls around our heart, putting up walls around our emotions, I just challenge you to be vulnerable, right? And to be vulnerable, we have to be very courageous. And because you can't have one without the other. They're completely interlinked. And allow yourself to feel the joy. Practice your gratitude, and don't let fear get you started down that road of foreboding joy, of squishing your joy, of switching this, that switch in your head, flicking the switch, and making you start thinking of all of the negatives, past or present, what could have been, should have been, whatever that looks like. So I hope you have a fantastic day today. This week is supposed to be absolutely gorgeous here. I'm really excited for it. And yeah, I hope this was uplifting for you. I just thought I would come in and share it. So anyway, I hope you were well. I am here if anyone ever needs to chat. If you do find yourself really foreboding your own joy and you want to chit chat with somebody, I am always here. Just shoot me a message, and we can chat it out. Okay? All right. I hope you have a great day, and we'll chat again soon. Bye.